got off to a good start after the government agreed to reform Section 5 of the Public Order Act by removing the word insulting. The change will give greater protection to free speech. But then the Westminster government published its same-sex couples bill, with Equalities Minister Maria Miller saying couples should not be excluded from marriage just because they love someone of the same sex. Leader of the Royal College of GPs, Dr Claire Gerarda, told a Panorama documentary that women are being allowed abortions simply by saying they don't want to be pregnant. She also suggested the GPs College drop its opposition to euthanasia and assisted suicide. And the Reverend Brian Ross, a police chaplain in Strathclyde, was removed from his post after writing on a blog that he doesn't agree with gay marriage. In March, the Human Fertility and Embryology Authority advised the government to move forward with a technique that will create genetically modified babies with 2 genetic mothers and 1 genetic father. And the government's Education Minister Liz Truss announced that sex education in schools will remain a non-statutory subject following a consultation by the Department for Education. The Christian owner of a media design firm in Northern Ireland was told he could face court action after refusing to print a gay magazine. Nick Williamson said printing the material would go against his religious beliefs. And 2 Roman Catholic midwives won their appeal against the NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde Health Board to avoid taking any part in abortion procedures because of their conscientious objections. In May, Lord Falconer launched his latest attempt to weaken the law on assisted suicide. His assisted dying bill would allow doctors to give lethal drugs to patients believed to have less than 6 months to live. And Bishop of Salisbury, the Right Reverend Nicholas Holtham, accused supporters of traditional marriage of being equivalent to supporters of apartheid and suggested Christians rethink the Bible in light of shifting social attitudes to homosexuality. June saw Sir Richard Branson making a fresh call on government to decriminalise drugs, but Libby Purvis, who lost her son to drug misuse, warned young cannabis users are playing Russian roulette with their mental health. The Scottish Parliament's Health and Sport Committee recommended that 13-year-olds should have better access to contraception through special drop-in youth services. And the 60th anniversary of the Queen's coronation was marked with a special celebratory service at Westminster Abbey, attended by over 2,000 invited guests. The second half of the year saw the government's highly controversial same-sex marriage bill finally become law in England and Wales, with the first ceremonies now expected to take place in March. The BBC Trust's annual report said that the corporation's religious output had fallen by 20% in the last year, and the Welsh Assembly voted to introduce a system of presumed consent for organ donation, but Archbishop of Wales Barry Morgan said organ donation should be about gifting, not taking. The Scottish National Party were accused of state interference after announcing that it was planning to allocate a named government official to every child in Scotland up to the age of 18. And millionaire gay couple Barry and Tony Druitt Barlow launched a legal challenge against the right of churches to opt out of gay weddings. The Crown Prosecution Service said it would not be in the public interest to prosecute 2 doctors caught on video offering to abort babies on grounds of sex. Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg insulted supporters of traditional marriage in the House of Lords by calling them dinosaurs, and the Girl Guides movement dropped their promise to serve God, instead pledging to be true to myself, in a move attacked for pandering to individualism and secular humanist ideas. In October, a report by a schools inspector at Ofsted said that more than half of England's schools are failing pupils in religious education. Christian street preachers could be among those caught by new plans to combat antisocial behaviour. Injunctions to prevent nuisance and annoyance, or IPNAs, are designed to be easier to obtain by the authorities and seen as a fresh threat to free speech. And singer-songwriter Annie Lennox commented that some pop videos have become highly styled pornography with musical accompaniment, and called on the government to introduce an age rating system. November was another busy month. Pressure from charities and campaign groups, including the Christian Institute, forced the government to pause part of its controversial new lobbying bill. The bill would undermine democracy and restrict freedom of expression and debate in the run-up to a general election. MSP Margot MacDonald launched her latest assisted suicide bill to the Scottish Parliament, in which patients as young as 16 would be able to register with a GP their wish to die. And Christian B&B owners Peter and Hazel Murray Bull lost their Supreme Court appeal. The couple had previously been fined for discriminating against a gay couple after denying them a double room. Fiona MacLeod MSP, a supporter of the Scottish Government's current plans to redefine marriage, refused to meet a local resident to discuss same-sex marriage, despite inviting constituents to speak with her about any issue. Baroness Howe's online safety bill was debated in the Lords. It advocates replacing a voluntary agreement with a legal obligation on internet providers and mobile phone companies to provide pornography-free content. And Northern Ireland Justice Minister David Ford announced he is to hold a consultation on weakening Northern Ireland's abortion laws.